Today I'm working in my journal again. As you can see, this is my Dina Wakley mixed media journal, and I'm working on the craft pages today. Going to do a double spread. Anyone who's watched me do some journaling before will know that I'm about to say I do not have a real plan, because I never do. All I know is that I want to do a collage background. I was totally inspired by James Burke's video the other day where he did a collage background and then drew a face on there. So I've gathered together a selection of bits and pieces. I've got some book pages, some vintage book pages, foreign text pages, some offcuts of scrapbooking paper. I've got some printable collage papers. Some of these are James Burke's, some of these are Courtney Diaz, and I'm going to be sort of mixing and matching a colourful background, fixing it all in place with some Americana decoupage matte medium. And I know for the focal point I want to use one of these Jane Davenport stencils. This is the Good Face stencil set, and I want to use this one here. Position her probably here, I'm not sure which page yet, we'll see, and sort of create a big hairstyle at the top and put some detail in with paint and pencils, and we'll see how we go. But to begin with, I want to just randomly collage my background. Not going to think too much about this as I go, because it's the bottom layer, and as such, it, you know, don't overthink it, because it really is not that important where things go. So I'm just going to pull together a few things that I definitely want to include in the background. Just as a start, and then I'll just dig in to the stash as I go if I think I need some more bits and pieces. So I shall probably just speed this up and put a little bit of music on, because I'm just going to be grabbing the glue, grabbing a paintbrush and sticking as I go, tearing and sticking as I go. Okay, so there I've got enough on my background there. I'm happy with that. There's a few bits of the craft card showing through, but it doesn't matter. I'm just going to let this dry. I'll give it a bit of a blow with my heat tool just to finish drying off the decoupage medium, clear up all my collage scraps out of the way, and then we can get on with doing the next stage. Now that my collage is all dry, I'm going to take my stencil and draw the outline using my Stabilo All pencil. I'm using this because when I apply some paint, the water in the paint is going to just blend this pencil somewhat, and it'll add to the shading around the edge. So I've just decided to put it on here on this side, just positioning it, and then I'm going to draw through and just create my line. And that'll do, and you can just, where there are like the little bridges on the stencil, obviously to stop it from falling apart, you can always just go in and complete the lines if needs be. I'm not going to do too much detail around the eyes just yet, because we can paint that in or go in with a marker pen afterwards. So what I want to do now is sort of block in where her face is going to be. And again, if you feel that it's not so easy to see, I mean, you know, I can see where these lines are, but the background is very busy. So use your stencil as a reference if you're not entirely sure. And I want to be able to paint some detail in her face. So I'm going to use the Dina Wakley heavy bodied acrylic in buff just as my background, just to sort of block out the collage somewhat. So I'm just going to pop some in a palette and grab my paintbrush. I'm just going to start blocking out some of this background with the paint. I do want to be able to see the pattern through to some extent, but we're just knocking it back because we want the features of the face to be visible. At this point we need to decide what we're doing for hair, and again, if you're not sure, sort of refer back to the template and sort of figure out where the hairline would be. And I'm just going to create a sort of freeform shape. And then again, just take some more of the paint and we can block a lot of that out. Now's the time to add a little bit of detail to this face, and for that I've got some Americana acrylics. I'm not going for a realistic effect, more a case of using some warm shades for highlights, cool shades for shadows. I've got some white and some grey. I might add some black in, but I'm probably going to use the Stabilo Wall pencil for that. But really just about adding a little definition now. And this is where, you know, it really doesn't matter if you are not that good at painting. If you're not good at realistic faces, that's not what we're trying for. If you try and think of areas where there would be shade and put the cooler colours in there, and areas where there might be highlights, you could bring in some of the warmer colours. I'm just going to give this a quick dry, and then I can go in and put some more detail in. We can overlay the stencil again to redefine some of the lines if need be. And just going in with a wet brush now to blend out that line. And before I go in with some very fine detail with a paint pen, I'm just going to go in to do around the eyes. I want to apply a very fine wash of colour over the remainder of this collage. We've blocked most of it out underneath the face. I just want to knock this back a little bit more. And I've still got some of the buff Dina Wakley paint, and I'm just going to add some water to it to make it more of a wash. And we can just do like a whitewash effect over the rest of the collage. And that'll just help subdue that down a little bit. So I'll give this a quick dry, and then we can put the finishing touches in place. So I've got a couple of Posca paint pens. I like this chalk pen. I just love the bright pink. I might use some of that because it fits with the colourways. But I'm going to use mainly the black and white pens, maybe a touch with the gold. I'm not entirely sure yet. But just adding the little details now. that page done. The quote is, "Beware, for I am fearless and therefore powerful." And I think that's an attitude that we should have with our art. We shouldn't be afraid of creating. Definitely not be fearless. You should definitely not be fearful, should I say, of working in your journal. Your journal is your own private place to work. So experiment and try out different techniques and ideas. I'm really pleased with how this turned out. There's so much to look at within the collage. Really pleased with how the stencil turned out. You know, that made drawing a face so simple. And the sort of simple ideas of using the blue and lilac cool colours for the shadows and the orange and the pink highlights really takes away some of the mystery of creating dimension and interest on a painting. Enjoyed doing the little mark making doodles in the background. I hope that's given you some ideas. Just let go and do what comes naturally and don't think about it. Don't think about where you're placing things in the collage. I love how some little things, some elements are still peeking out. I know we've covered other ones, but it's such a fun and easy way to cover the background. And then you can then paint over the top and create your focal point. So as always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a thumbs up. There's still a week left to enter my 5,000 subscribers giveaway. I'll link to that up in the corner up there. If you haven't already left a comment on there to be in with a chance of winning the mixed media piece that I created, then please do go and leave me a comment. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll be back again with some more inspiration for you soon. But for now, that's all, so goodbye.